Well, nerds, this week's show is going to be a little bit different because many things involved. However, we do still have things to talk about. There's Gamescom, Slipknot, Peacemaker, James Gunn in general, and his DCU, and a couple of rumors, and there's really plenty to talk about. So, let's... The music section this week, I would like to remind you real quick that music is just the stuff that we listen to while we do other stuff. Here's the news. In music's follow-ups and corrections, we have no follow-ups or corrections, which potentially means that I'm just perfect. More likely, it's because we haven't had a show for the last couple weeks properly, and the little bit of news we have reported on, nobody noticed my mistakes, but we're gonna go with perfect, actually. New music and videos for those of you who like your metal with D in doom and gloom. We have goth metal pioneers Paradise Lost have unveiled a video for their song Tyrant's Serenade, a new track off of their upcoming album Ascension. It's exactly as melancholic and heavy as you'd expect from a band that's been perfecting misery for the past 30 years. It's the kind of song that makes you want to read poetry inside of a crumbling cathedral, you know. And if you're looking for something new that just kind of grinds your face off, there's a new band, Bent Sea. It's a project featuring former members of Megadeth, Aborted, Napalm Death, and a couple others. They dropped a new single called Scopic Radiance. It's a minute and a half of pure grindcore. Just enough time to ruin your day in the best possible way. In tours and festivals, if you like, your hardcore with a side of just absolute freaking chaos, Boundaries have announced a summer tour with Stick to Your Guns, Gates to Hell, and Psycho Frame, which means it's going to be great. The lineup is guaranteed to result in at least 3 different types of mosh pit, which will then eventually converge in the middle of the floor. For those metal purists, we have Crowbar and I Hate God teaming up for a co-headlining tour that promises to be sludgy, heavy, and very likely very, very loud. And what very likely is going to be the most brutal bill of this season. Acacia Strang is hitting the road with Body Snatcher, Ingrown, No Cure, and Tribal Gaze. So go to that one if you feel like your bones are just a little too intact. For some regular-ass news, we have something to kick off this subsection that is both monumental and also massively bummer. We have legendary thrash band Megadeth has announced a final album, a global farewell tour, and then retirement. After 4 decades, Dave Mustaine is hanging it up. In a video, the band's mascot, Vic Rattlehead, was dramatically obliterated by flames, which is about as subtle as Megadeth riff. So go see that one last time. Probably. Meanwhile, Slipknot is reportedly nearing a massive 9-figure sale of their music royalties and publishing, to the tune of about $120 million, if reports are to be believed. Turns out, nearly 30 years of chaos, masks, and telling people to push their fingers into their eyes, good business plan. It's just a great business plan. I don't know what to tell you. In other news that should make fans of weird and wonderful things very, very happy, we have Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian are pushing for a new Mr. Bungle record. The duo, who also helped resurrect the band, say that they're actively trying to make it happen. One can only imagine the kind of nonsense they're about to cook up, and also why the hell Mike Patton wasn't also one of the people actively trying to get this to be a thing. And then to end the regular-ass news in a little bit more somber note, we have a planned Ozzy Osbourne documentary was supposed to air on the BBC. It was pulled from the schedule. At first, there was no reason given. The BBC has officially come out and stated that it is in order to align with the family's wishes. They said it was a little too soon to air this documentary. It apparently will still air eventually, but right now, that's the only explanation we're getting, and honestly, that's really the only explanation we need. And then suggestion for the week. All right, look, if you want something that feels like it was forged in a black hole, the band Wormhole has released an album. They released it last year. Their album, Almost Human. It's technical slam death. It's very much a lot. It's an EP, and it's music that sounds like one computer trying to violently murder another computer in the best possible way, though.
Subscribe. That is all.
Gaming and tech is actually usually the other stuff we're doing while we listen to the music, so here's some more news. Follow-ups and corrections for gaming and tech. Again, I stand by my flawless record from last few weeks, so let's just move on. For new trailers, actually we have a boatload of new trailers because Gamescom opening night live just happened and the day 2 is happening as I'm filming, so I'm sure there's plenty more trailers to happen. It was the usual chaotic blast of trailers. There was some really cool moments like the Kronos thing that they had the actor on stage and such, but we got to look at Lords of the Fallen 2, which features eyeballs, tentacles, and a flaming sword delivered by an angel who looks like it's made entirely out of arms. I couldn't tell. That's due in 2026. We also got reveals for new Bubsy game because sure, why not? A Master Reclassic, LucasArts shooter Outlaws, new look at Silent Hill F, which honestly was a bit more than we've got previously, but that's a very low bar to set, and they didn't talk about how it's the most Japanese game ever this time, so that's kind of a win, right? We also have highly anticipated Black Myth sequel game, not really sequel, just the next in the franchise, as Black Myth not Wukong. It's in my notes incorrectly. I put down the wrong name. Crap. It's the new Black Myth game. It looks just equally as cool as Wukong, though. Fans hoping for DLC as well. And today's show, like I said, is also happening as I'm filming, so there will be plenty to talk about next week. In regular ass news, just a couple of techie things, really. In tech, Razer just dropped a couple of new low-profile wireless keyboards, Black Widow V4s, and for you controller connoisseurs out there, 8-bit dough rather. Their first wireless Xbox controller is back in stock on Amazon, so if you're looking to get some new control ability things going for yourself, now's as good a time as any because they're just dropping some new freshness. For suggestions this week in gaming and tech, if you have a few bucks to lose and you want to also then lose several hours of your life every day, go check out Dave the Diver. It's a game where you're a deep sea diver by day and a sushi restaurant manager by night. It has absolutely no business being as deep and as wonderful as it is, and that's your suggestion. Comic books and books are actually where I found most of my friends when I was a child. Don't judge me. Follow-ups and corrections. No corrections, still perfect. Don't question it. We do have a follow-up though. That follow-up is for the DC Marvel team-up thing. There's a couple of new reveals-ish. We have Batman and Deadpool #1. That's the thing that we're talking about, right? The team-up. A 64-page one-shot main story by Grant Morrison, Dave Moore. We already know that. Dan Mora, rather. That's not all. The issue is packed with backup stories. We already went over the creative teams, but we now know some of the pairings that they're doing. I can't remember if we talked about this previously, so we're just gonna keep going with it. We have Constantine and Doctor Strange, sounds pretty freaking amazing, which is from Scott Snyder. We have Tom Taylor giving us Nightwing meets Wolverine, so just kind of really shaping up to be an awesome couple of books. DC, that's the next thing. Trailers. There are no trailers to report on this week, so just kind of accept it while it is quiet like this, because this won't happen for long. DC, though, announced a Batman and Static Beyond 6-issue Elseworld series from Evan Narcisse and artist Nicholas Draper-Ivy. Teams up Terry McGinnis and Virgil Hawkins. And for fans of obscure comic history, the first Black Sea, one of of the first black superheroes, rather. Lion Man is getting his very own revival in a new anthology graphic novel. Lion Man, for those that don't know, actually predates Black Panther, so there's that. And then in suggestion for the week, go pick up Department of Truth from Image Comics. It's a series written by James Tynion IV, who I'm a bit of a fan of. Martin Simmons, about a secret government agency tasked with covering up conspiracy theories. The twist here is that if enough people believe in a conspiracy, then it becomes true. It's kind of dark. It's a little bit appropriate for the times, seeing as where we are sociopolitically, and it's really great. Go check it out. That's your suggestion for the week. Speaking of my strange childhood, TV shows actually were my babysitter a lot of the time. And so can you! Follow-ups and corrections for TV shows. Yeah, still batting 1,000 with this stuff, so let's just keep that perfect streak rolling, I guess. New trailers. We got a trailer for Peacemaker Season 2, another new trailer for Peacemaker Season 2, a little bit more of a reveal. According to James Gunn, the recent early digital release, this is kind of a follow-up of something that we talked about in the show on one of the live shows, but it ties into the Peacemaker thing, I promise. The digital release of Superman was so that people could watch it before the new season of Peacemaker, which heavily implies that there's going to be some close correlations there. Also, the Fallout 2 trailer for the Fallout Season 2 trailer, I guess I should say, dropped during Gamescom. If you haven't watched that and you don't want to watch the entire Gamescom broadcast, and I can't necessarily blame you, but go watch this if nothing else, because it's shaping up to be as good, possibly better than Season 1. In regular ass news for TV shows, we have in the world of Star Wars, there's Reddit post rumor thing that says Ian McDiarmid is going to be returning as Gandalf for the new Gollum series. Actually, wait, no, that's not right. It's Gandalf returns for Gollum. That's the news. My apologies to Middle-earth and to Sir Ian McKellen. Suggestion for TV shows this week. Do yourself a solid and watch Pantheon on Amazon Prime Video. It's an animated sci-fi series based on short stories by Ken Liu about uploaded intelligence. We talk a lot about AI on the channel, and it's pretty awesome. It's smart, character-driven, and kind of high-concept sci-fi. Usually, this kind of stuff gets canceled quick, so watch it while you can. I really have to cut in and just quickly thank, I gotta find the logo, Dubby, the guys at Dubby. This is almost the last of my s'mores, and I gotta tell you, this stuff is so yummy. I don't think I have ever had an energy drink that has this level of awesome built right in. Not just because it's literally the best tasting energy drink I've ever had, but also because they're nootropics. I'm gonna go to the gym here after I'm done filming, which means I need a little bit of extra high level function with my brain so that it, mind muscle connection, I can get the best pump with the least amount of work, that kind of stuff. Yes, this helps with that. I swear to God, it's anecdotal, but still, it definitely helps me with that. So I cannot thank Dubby enough for being a channel partner. You should go check out Dubby.gg. Get yourself a tub of the s'mores, because that's the best drink you're ever going to have that falls under the category of energy. Also, I'm a big fan of the Calio cream. This stuff is also quite awesome. I keep one of my empty tubs on set just specifically so I can always shout them out, because this one rocks too. Probably the best tasting orange cream energy drink you're ever going to have. I don't know, the Prime one's really good. This one's honestly better. Anyway, I love Dubby. I'm super grateful that they are around to partner with me. Go check out Dubby.gg. Use code GenerallyNerdy at checkout, and you can get 10% off of everything you have purchased. I get a little bit of a kickback. You get to, get money off, and also Dubby sells products. So it's a win-win-win, however that works. That being said, I appreciate your faces, nerds. Let's get back to the news. Just so you know, movies are secretly trying to fundamentally change the person you are and are becoming, so has it worked yet? Follow-ups and corrections this week. As far as corrections go, let's just assume I'm right about everything from now on. It'll be so much easier. Trailers and movies, there's again not much to talk about here, so let's consider this the calm before the storm, because we are about to get into that time of year where trailers drop just about every week. In regular ass news, we have James Gunn on the red carpet for the Peacemaker premiere mentioned that he has a quote Superman saga unquote planned out, and the treatment for the sequel is pretty much already locked in. So get ready for a lot more of the Big Blue Boy Scout in the not so distant future. In the Marvel camp, oh, that's a rumor. We're going to save that for the next section. Yeah, so we're into suggestion for this week. Like I said, quick episode, right? Suggestion for the week. If you're in the mood for some top tier horror, seek out the movie The Empty Man. It was completely buried by the studio when it was originally released. I don't remember what year it was, but it is genuinely terrifying. It is Lovecraftian, and it's pretty damn underrated. Like, we've talked about this previously on the channel. We're suggesting it one more time. Empty Man.
Maybe. It's classified.
Fun fact as we move into the rumor mill, rumors are just the voices in your head arguing with your government implant. So confirmations and refutations this week, there's really nothing to confirm or refute, which in the rumor mill is kind of news unto itself, right? News sources for old rumors. In the Marvel camp, there is a ton of casting rumors surrounding Avengers Doomsday. We have more talk about Chris Evans probably returning as Cap. And as for when we are going to finally get a trailer for this movie, rumor has it that the first time we're going to be getting a trailer is going to be right about San Diego Comic-Con of 2026. Brand new rumors. We're not going to do percentages this week because we're rushing through it. We're just getting the stuff in front of your face, and you can do with it as you will. Fresh leaks. This is techie stuff on the rumor side. Fresh leaks of that camera and drone company Insta30, or it might be Insta360. I can't remember. Is working on a second ultra lightweight drone in its quote unquote anti-gravity category. The series rather. To compete with DJI's entry-level drones. The leak comes from an image that surfaced alongside the officially announced A1 drone, hinting that the company has more up its sleeve for sometime in 2026. And then we have a little bit of speculation, my personal speculation, just spitballing here. With all of the chaos around Marvel's upcoming slate and the constant rumors about actors returning for Doomsday and Secret Wars, and why the hell is Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom? I'm going to say that all of this is just a massive smokescreen. My personal speculation, my guess here with this one is that they're going to use the multiversal shenanigans to do a soft reboot of the characters that aren't working. And the main villain isn't going to be Doom. It's not going to be Kang. The main villain for the new reboot is going to be the audience themselves. It's pretty meta. And it's also very likely wrong, so that's what we're going with. And that brings everything back down to housekeeping for this episode. So, housekeeping nerds, as I'm filming this, part of the reason why we did this kind of weird new format is that I just wanted to test my ability to write a shortened script that is a little bit more fast-paced and highly engaging, so we'll see how that does in the analytics. But also, Ninja Turtles 35th anniversary movie screening is this evening, and I still have a gym to hit. So I gotta do that, I gotta take care of my dogs, I have things to do in my adult life that we'll talk about the Ninja Turtles thing. Like, this would be a good place to cut, assuming I get around to actually filming the bit I want to film about it. But remember, it's the 35th anniversary, so they're showing the film, but they're also showing some behind the scenes stuff. There's gonna be some new documentary footage. I believe there's even a little bit of a Q&A, a pre-recorded Q&A with the director of the film as well. So super, super hype for what I'm about to walk into later this evening. Okay, so it is not the night of the original, when I went and saw the movie, where the next morning as I'm finishing this edit, and anticipated this edit was going to be a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but it's still much, much shorter than it normally is. So we might be moving forward with this format a little bit more frequently. Anyway, so about the Ninja Turtles 35th anniversary Fathom Events movie screening, it was great, because it was Ninja Turtles on a cinema screen. Like, I got to see it in theaters finally. I never got to see it as a kid in theaters, at least not to my recollection. I did have the VHS, so I watched that a million freaking times, and that was great to see the additional clarity of the large screen and the theater print, or the transfer. I guess it was a digital transfer of the original print. But like the additional content that we were promised with this was awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, I just was expecting it to be different. So the two things that I remember explicitly that were promised with the Fathom Events event is that there was going to be an interview with the director at the beginning, and also some never before seen footage. Because honestly, there's not a lot of extra footage, and they addressed this in this intro portion. There's really not a lot of footage that exists that they were able to shoot that didn't make it into the movie. I think so. And then also, I'm pretty sure, before I get ahead of myself, I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere, I don't know if it was the official Fathoms page or something, a different announcement or something that may have just been misquoting something, but I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that there was going to be a Q&A with the director. And as I said in the main video that I just cut away from, I was anticipating that to be like a pre-recorded thing. And we kind of sort of got all of those things, but also kind of sort of didn't really get all of those things. What I mean by that is we did see some additional footage that's never been seen before, at least not by the public. We did get a little bit of an interview with the director. All told, though, it was really only like 5 to 8 minutes of additional stuff before they showed the actual movie. Which I was expecting like this 20-minute thing, because we're gonna see some footage, and then we're gonna get like some sort of substantial interview with the director, and then maybe somehow some sort of pre-recorded Q&A from the fans. The pre-recorded Q&A didn't really happen at all. So what it was is it's basically an ad for the documentary that is being put out about the Ninja Turtles movie. 40 Years of Turtles is I think what they're calling it, or something like that. If you go check out the Fathom Events site, you'll be able to find it. Because it's all linked up on there. At least that's what they said in the footage. But what we actually got was the documentarian explaining what he wants to do with the documentary, and showing us a little bit of never before seen footage, never before seen by the public footage, and then like a clip of his interview, kind of like a podcast style interview that he did with the director of the Turtles movie. Where they're going through additional footage. The footage that he's going through with the director is an alternate intro, alternate title sequence, I guess, would have been more appropriate, because the intro, you don't really change that intro. And the footage that we went through was more camera motion over uninhabited areas where the turtles do inhabit. You just don't see them until the big reveal of the title, and blah, blah, blah. So it was cool. I loved it. It was super awesome. I just had higher expectations than, I guess, what I got. So, super duper cannot wait for this documentary to come out. I'm probably going to try and throw a little bit of money at it, because it's a crowdfunding thing. So I'm going to try and throw a little bit of money at it, because there's like 4 hours of additional content that they did for the documentary
that presumably you get, depending on the level of backer you are, you get all these extra things. There's action figures for Eastman and Laird themselves, which is kind of awesome. And then there's an action figure for an unused character, a character that was conceptualized but never actually shot, or they didn't do anything with him. Ended up on the cutting room floor, so to speak. And that was it. Obviously, I haven't looked into it in depth yet, just because I haven't had the time. But it was awesome, and I'm super glad I got to do it. Anyway, that is part of the reason why this week's episode was a little nuts. But I'm going to throw it back to pre-record itself, and we're going to end this video. Thank you very much, nerds.
However, that also kind of cramps things for us here today. Also, in the slightly more distant future, August is coming to an end. We are, the 20th is today, which means we don't have that many days left in August, which means we're just about 2 months out from the off season, which means we're going to go through a bit of a change, though the last couple of weeks you wouldn't feel like this was a change because I've done more of the live show than I have of the pre-recorded show, but off season, once we hit November, is going to be pre-recorded shows while I gear up for a next season. So that is going to happen. That's approximately 8 weeks. One of those weeks at least is going to be a non-regular show again, because I will be traveling again, this time for a concert. So hopefully there will be content to post from that trip. That being said, that's kind of what we got for housekeeping. So there you have it, nerds. Another week's worth of news. You can now go out into the world and be much more informed and use this information for good, or just to win online debates. Whatever. It's up to you. But thank you very much, nerds, for joining me for this. Before we head out, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.